Hello and welcome to the first installation of the Granadan Money Gurus podcast on the Reconquista and the Alhambra. I'm Brody.
And I'm right.
All right, let's get into this.
Before we talk about the Reconquista, can you give like a brief history of the factors that led?
A brief Iberian history?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Iberia's history begins around the 5th century BC when you have Phoenician settlements along the southern coastline, which are then followed by Greek settlements. And the native Iberians, as they were called, whether they're Celtiberians, Tarascans, something else like that, slowly die out from this period onwards as following like the Second Punic War, the Roman Republic annexes most of Iberia and progressively annexes the rest of it. And over the next 600 years, the population becomes progressively Romanized, Latinized, and all speak Latin. So the native Iberians die out, the Carthaginians die out, the Phoenicians die out, the Greeks die out. And then that ends in like 5th century and with the fall of the Western Roman Empire as the Visigoths, a Germanic group, migrate into the region en masse. And the Visigothic kingdom lasts until 711 when the Umayyad Caliphate, or one of the many great Islamic empires, invades.
So how did this like lead to the Reconquista? Moors and like the Christians to want to conquer the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah, so in 711, when the Umayyad Caliphate conquers Iberia, they conquer it but a lone Visigothic nobleman by the name of Pelagius escapes to the north and establishes a kingdom of Asturias. And the concept of like retaking back lost lands would only really philosophically become a thing towards the 11th century, because in this remaining from 711 till the fall of the Caliphate of Cordoba in the early 11th century, the Islamic presence in the peninsula is completely dominant. And then once the Caliphate breaks apart, there's a chance for people to regain land, and the Christians see it as an opportunity to gain power, especially the feudal kings who want to take that land for themselves. All right, so we know by 1250 now that Granada, the last city of Islamic rule, is diplomatically, economically, and militarily isolated from the rest of the world. What exactly is the Alhambra and its relation to this?
So the Alhambra was home to the people of the Moorish Nasrid dynasty. Its main purpose, however, was to protect the Nasrid dynasty sultans and nobilities from external attacks, which were the wars happening on the Iberian Peninsula as well as outside it.
Tell me more about the Alcazaba.
So the best way to describe the Alcazaba is that it was the fortress of the Alhambra, which is also a fortress. Basically, it was a combination of multi-layered walls and towers that was, built to defend the Alhambra and its people.
After 1492, due to lack of foreign threats, the Alhambra and the Alcazaba's role as a defensive structure declined. But I'm interested to know, what does it signify and what is its purpose in the new Spanish state?
Oh, good question, Brody. So the conquest of the Alhambra signified the end of the Reconquista. However, it was key to two things. One is the Catholic monarch's drive to unify Spain under Christian rule. And I will explain what these mean. So, about how the Alhambra was key to unifying Spain under Catholic rule, basically months after the Alhambra's conquest, the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella Castillo passed a decree called the Alhambra Decree, which is a decree that discriminated against anyone who wasn't identifying as, a Christian. So because of this, the Moors had just two options: either convert to Christianity or to leave Spain. And some people must have left Spain. This would allow the Catholic monarchs to take the resources, as they were allowed to take resources like gold outside of Spain. These new funds allowed the Spanish monarchs to fund trips such as Christopher Columbus's trip to the Americas, which in turn brought massive wealth to Spain, including gold, silver, and spices.
So, in conclusion, the history of Granada has been a long and interesting tale from its prehistory through the modern day. That's all the time we have for right now in the recording studio, but next episode will feature Jillian and Diego talking about the cultural significance of Granada with aspects such as Miguel de Cervantes' creation of Don Quixote and the impact of the Romani people on the region. And we might get a brief Travis Scott feature if we get enough money. But until then, we'll see you.